Tarascon, France, 1956. It's a normal evening at the church, everyone has gathered for prayers. Father Noiret and Jacques are about to finish for the day. Jacques is a young groundskeeper who maintains the church and its surrounding property. Jacques is finishing his work down in the cellar when he feels something behind him. He tries to look into the dark, and the cruet behind him explodes. He runs to Father Noiret to tell him someone is here. As they go to investigate, they hear a sound, and suddenly the holy water starts evaporating. As the smoke rises, Jacques sees Valak standing in the dark. An invisible force lifts the father in the air. His arms fling wide. Then the fire starts. It consumes him completely while Jacques stands frozen, terrified. The nun is back for revenge. She is hunting a specific bloodline. Far away in Italy, a young woman named Sister Irene lives quietly in a convent. She is the only person who has ever faced the demon Valak and lived, and her peace is about to end. The Mother Superior sits with the other nuns, explaining what happened in St. Cartas and how the demon broke free from the gates of hell. The demon took the form of a nun, and the Vatican sent a priest and a nun to defeat it. They defeated the demon with the help of the blood of Christ. No one here knows that Sister Irene is the same nun who defeated Valak. Kate and Maurice work at a girls' school. Kate is a teacher, Maurice is a groundskeeper. A delivery girl is dropping off goods when she hears someone choking. She goes to take a look and sees a man standing near the mirror, choking. Suddenly a hand reaches out from the dark, it's Valak. She runs, but Valak catches her, and she doesn't survive the encounter. Meanwhile, Sister Irene has a dream in which she sees Maurice asking her to save him. She wakes up with a bleeding nose. The next day, the head of the church calls Sister Irene and informs her of unusual incidents happening across other churches. They ask her to investigate the demon, since she is the only one who knows it well. She refuses at first, but the head urges her to take the case, insisting she's the only one equipped to understand it. She boards a train, and Sister Deborah joins her to help, though Irene doesn't think Deborah is ready. Sophie is the daughter of Kate, studying in the same school she teaches. Other girls bully her, and one day during a break, they force her to come to the chapel with them. Sophie goes along, and they start playing a game called Defy the Devil. They tell her to stare into the devil's eyes without moving, or he'll attack her. Then they all leave her alone in the chapel. Sophie feels someone behind her and tries to run, but the other girls are blocking the door. Suddenly, the covered statue falls. Maurice arrives and rescues her. Sister Irene and Deborah arrive in Tarascon. The church is empty because everyone believes a devil lives there. Irene has another vision, a burned body, and a boy named Jacques holding a beaded rosary. Irene asks about the boy who witnessed everything, but learns there was another person present the night Valak burned the priest. The locals call him Frenchy, but he is actually Maurice, and Sister Irene knows him well. He saved her life once when she was possessed by Valak. She suspects the devil has now entered Maurice and is using him to exact his revenge. Sophie sees Maurice on the ground, acting strangely. She hears her mother calling her and follows the voice upstairs into an abandoned room. As she opens the door, Valak is standing there. She turns to run, only to find Valak standing right next to her. Suddenly her mother arrives with the other girls, and Valak vanishes. Sister Irene finds Jacques playing with the other boys. She tells him she knows he witnessed everything that night, including the demon, and asks for the rosary. He admits he took it from Father Noiret because he was scared. Jacques runs off, and Irene follows him into an empty street, where she sees a stack of magazines on display. The pages suddenly begin to flip on their own, forming an image of Valak. As she steps closer, Valak chokes her and forces her to relive visions from the past. She collapses, unconscious. Sister Deborah arrives to rescue her. Back at the school, the headmistress is praying when she hears strange noises. She investigates and finds Maurice standing facing a door. When she touches him, he flinches and retreats to his room. She then hears a child's voice coming from a locked room and goes in to check. It's Cedric, her son, gone years earlier. Valak stands behind him, and Cedric turns on the headmistress, who doesn't survive. Irene wakes and tells Deborah what the devil is after, something ancient, something important, and that he's keeping Maurice alive only to achieve that goal, intending to discard him once it's done. Deborah hands Irene the rosary taken from Jacques. It matches a photograph linked to the demon's recent victims, and the two begin investigating its origins. Meanwhile, Kate discovers the headmistress, motionless on the floor. Sophie tells Maurice she feels something is deeply wrong at the school, that something is there that shouldn't be. Irene and Deborah travel to the Palais des Papes, the palace of the popes, to trace the connection between the demon and the rosary. They learn the symbol on the rosary is a family crest belonging to St. Lucy's bloodline. Irene then recalls what the devil truly wants, St. Lucy's eyes. The librarian explains that the demon was once an angel, cast out and stripped of his holy power. Now he wants that power back, which is why he seeks St. Lucy's eyes. But this is also the key to defeating him, if Irene can retrieve the eyes first. The librarian directs them to a monastery where the eyes are buried, the very same school where Sophie studies and Maurice works. Irene and Deborah drive to the school. Maurice, Kate, and Sophie are enjoying the evening together. While Kate and Maurice dance, Maurice suddenly collapses, and Valak emerges from a painting behind Sophie. At the same moment, Irene and Deborah arrive and meet Kate, Sophie, and Maurice. Irene warns Maurice to stay back, telling them Valak is inside him. He becomes fully possessed and starts moving toward the location of St. Lucy's eyes. Irene tries to stop him and begins an exorcism. Deborah strikes him in the head, knocking him out, and they tie him up tightly. Irene goes to the chapel to search for clues about the eye's location. Sophie points out a mirror carved with a goat figure. As light passes through its eyes, it points to a spot on the ground. They dig there and uncover St. Lucy's eyes. Maurice wakes and frees himself. Sophie notices the goat is now gone from the mirror. Upstairs, the other girls hear footsteps above their room. One girl goes to investigate and finds Deborah, warning her that something is above them. They spot the demon approaching, they lock the door, but it begins hurling objects through the air, forcing them to flee. Meanwhile, Maurice arrives where Irene is holding the eyes. He attacks her, trying to take them, but Sophie grabs them and runs. Elsewhere, the girls are hiding from the demon. One tries to escape through a vent but instead sees the headmistress standing there. The headmistress grabs her, but Deborah intervenes and they all escape. Sophie tries to hide from Maurice, but he finds her. The eyes in her hand begin to glow, causing the demon visible pain. She flees as he chases her, and the building starts to crumble. The large bell crashes down. Irene rushes in to save Sophie, who is now clinging to a wooden beam. Maurice reaches for the eyes, but loses his footing and falls. Irene finds Sophie still holding them. Maurice charges at them, but Irene halts him using the power of St. Lucy's eyes. He cries out in pain, begging her to stop before there's nothing left of him. He collapses to the ground, and Irene fears the worst, but as she approaches, he lunges and snatches the eyes from her hand. Deborah and Irene both try to wrestle the eyes free from his grip, but they aren't strong enough. The demon absorbs the power of St. Lucy's eyes, becoming stronger than ever, and Valak emerges in her true form. As Irene begins to pray, Valak attacks Deborah. Irene tries to help but can't reach her in time. She's lifted into the air, arms stretched wide, mirroring the fate of Father Noiret at the film's opening. Her body catches fire, flames engulfing her clothes as she screams in agony. At that moment, she sees a vision of her mother, and the flames stop. She drops to the ground and tries to flee. Maurice goes after Sophie as Irene and Deborah rush to save her. Valak traps them while Maurice closes in on Sophie, moments from ending her, but he hesitates, fighting the possession from within. Irene and Deborah begin to pray together. As Irene recalls her mother, her prayer intensifies. The moment it ends, Valak bursts into flame, her entire form vanishing completely. Maurice screams in pain as well, but Deborah and Irene hold him down and manage to save him. Sophie runs to her mother, reuniting with the other girls from the school. The next day, Sophie meets Maurice, who apologizes to her, and she forgives him. Is Valak truly gone, or simply waiting for another moment to return? That's where the story connects to Lorraine from The Conjuring. Don't forget to subscribe to Thrilled in the Dark.